Fatality. Fatality.
But,
Fatality.
yeah, well, no, but still, you know.
Fatality.
It's fucking hilarious how many people are crying about wokeness in comics that are just like, have you read comics? Just have you? Just no. That's what I said to someone else. Was like, well, that's what someone said. Like, someone's like, have you, like, someone commented on someone else, like, have you ever read comics? And I'm like, no, they just flip till they see punching. It's basically what they do. They see punching, they're like, yeah, I like violence. And then, like, they miss the meeting for, like, people are mad. Like, they just announced the What If. Like, re-announced it, like, giving a heavy push on Twitter. Because of the trail drop. What up, Mark Ivory? So you have people there instantly complaining about wokeness and that. Just because it's What If stories. And then, like, well, instead of coming up with something new, my first Roro. I mean, Mark Ivory was there a little bit before you, but we'll call you both first. Nice. Unless Mark really wants to be first. But, like, like, it's so funny that you have to see the comic fans being like, no, What If stories are all just a bunch of random nonsense of what would be cool that didn't happen. Because that's the funny. Come up with original content, and it's like, people are like, isn't that what they're doing? Like, with What If stories, they're new stories. They're just using similar characters. They are. Oh, I'm going to the airport. I don't know. I was also just mostly into those threads to tell people they should read bullet points. You should also read bullet points. Yep. It's basically a What If story, but like a limited series, so it's not like a one done, it's like a couple of comics. It starts off with basically, I'll tell it, because it's still a good story if you know what's going on. Basically what happens is Captain America is about to get his injection to become Captain America. But the assassin gets there a little bit earlier and kills the scientist before he becomes Captain America. So there is no Captain America. So then things kind of stem from that, like, well, what happens now? And then basically, like, everyone's basically in the same timeline. Like, there's Tony Stark, Reed Richards, Peter Parker. They're kind of all in the same era, mostly. Instead of spread out like they are normally. But basically what happens is, dead or alive, you're coming with me. Instead of Steve Rogers becoming Captain America, the government hires Tony Stark to build a suit of armor, and Steve Rogers becomes Iron Man. And, from there kind of stems everything else, where, like, Reed Richards becomes Nick Fury, basically, like the leader of S.H.I.E.L.D. Let's see. Peter Parker becomes the Hulk. Bruce Banner... What the fuck does Bruce Banner... Bruce Banner becomes Spider-Man. So, like, everyone kind of, like, gets switched up just because of, like, that one event. And, like, they kind of show, like, the train reaction as it goes along. So it's not just, like, like, hey, this didn't happen. But it's like a what-if chain reaction. One thing changed, so everything else has to change now. Which I thought was a pretty cool story. I like the what-if stories. I don't know why people cry about them. They are. That was what was it? And it's also funny, like, looking at Twitter where people are like, they keep doing, like, like, not even just with this, but anytime someone complains about something and then goes, well, I don't even read or buy this stuff, but if they keep doing this, I'm still not gonna buy it or read it. And it's like, okay, why do they care what you think if you're not a clientele of theirs? What do I care? Who cares? That's like when people in America say, I'm gonna boycott a Chinese company. But they're not in China. They don't sell that in... Well, no, but I'm talking about, like, specific companies that are, like, only in China. Like, it's not like, hey, I can get, like, these Chinese products or something here. Like, you know, the stuff that says, like, made in China. Just general. Uzi or Tommy gun? You know what? I'll go Tommy. Tommy Bahama. Guys, Paint's a dictator, just so you know. Emphasize part I'm a dick. How's everyone's day doing? Oh, no. How far am I? Pretty close to the zone, right? Yeah. Okay. And Tater. Paint's mic's off. Yeah, it is. I forgot. You guys are just listening to me rant. Well, are they blaming you? They just say your mic's off. Well, that's... Well, they don't always say that. They just say, I can't hear Paint. This time they said Paint's mic's off, but...
It's Comic's fault, guys. It's Comic's fault.
GT! What up? I mean, I'll take that. It's my fault. I forgot to add.
He's a dictator.
Now I'm just thinking about the potato that looks like a dick.
More dick than tater.
More dick than tater.
Just makes you laugh every time, man. Well, I'm sorry I don't have a fucking clinic because the fucking revolutionaries are holding me back.
Oh, this is weird. I'm hopping on a wall thinking it's a thing, and it's a door. One of those sliding doors. It's like, why can't I jump through this window? Those things were loud. I haven't seen anyone yet. Man, I guess I landed away from a lot of people. I saw one guy landing out here. Back down. You know what this game needs? You know how you can turn yourself into a barrel and see if these?
Mm-hmm.
I need to be able to turn myself into a scarecrow.
That seems like a terrible idea.
It is once other people use it against me, yeah. Everyone will be shooting fucking scarecrows until they like, sure. Like, there's a sheriff, go! Shoot it! Like, alright, I'm safe. But then they get shot by someone else who was just running by and then hears them shooting.
Exactly. Exactly. Ooh, I'm negative 8,000 in the hole. I can't be building willy-nilly like this.
They got a fan on the floor.
14,000 in. There we go. Bam. Yeah, build a fucking chapel. I was already doing that, bitch. Joke's on you. Do I put it right next to the dungeon so people can say their prayers before I kill?
Yeah.
Probably should. Yeah. Should probably also be proactive about this logging camp that's about to harvest all the logs in the area. Probably build another one, but
Stop harvesting logs.
well, comic, I kind of need to because I'm a thriving archipelago that's about to go against the Royal Crown, a la fucking Australia.
Don't go across the ground. In Australia's myth. I love making that joke, but I hope no one ever takes me serious.
Well, did you know that it's actually been a problem in smaller countries of like them not realizing that New Zealand is a country because of map making?
Yeah,
You've heard about that too? Isn't that fucking crazy?
I saw it where someone went from New Zealand to a different country, and they detained the guy because they thought it was a fake passport because they never heard of the country. They didn't know it was a real country.
He's like, no, I assure you, Lord of the Rings. Have you ever seen Lord of the Rings?
What's wild is learning as an adult that maps are just wrong.
Oh yeah.
Like Africa is apparently like 3 times huger.
Yeah, it's just. I mean, there's a lot of reasons, but for one reason, it is easier to just like, you know, to fit everything on a map that way. But,
Well, I know why they did it and stuff, but it's, you know, it's that's also part of like the whole, you know, kind of racism privilege that people don't
There's a few things.
realize about, where they're just like, yeah, oh, what's this?
I mean, it's also the
Self-aid?
The whole thing about us. Oh yeah, you didn't know about that? You can self-heal yourself now.
I did kind of know about that. I just never seen one yet. Also, I don't know if they changed stuns, but I used stun on someone after you got off, and I watched the death cam, and I don't know if it just didn't show me what happened to him, but they ran by it. It was right in front of them and exploded. It was ringing in their ears, but there was no blindness, and it didn't seem like they went blind because they shot me like basically right out the gate.
But yeah, I mean, it's the same thing with like, you know, people just refer to Africa as an entire country, where it's like, no, that's
Yeah.
a lot of different countries. You're referring to a continent.
It is partly confusing that there's South Africa, which is a country.
South Africa, North Africa. There's
North Africa's a country too?
Nigeria.
I never hear about that one.
Well, no, Egypt is in Africa.
I know Egypt's in
it's in
Africa, but I'm
Africa,
saying
like-
there's South Africa is a country.
South Africa is a country. Yeah.
Like United States of America is a country, but that's why also people are like North America and they're like Canada, and they're like, no, North America.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like, you can say North Africa or South Africa. South Africa is a country, though, where, you know, like, it's confusing. North Africa is not a country, though, but I'm just saying, like, it's a large fucking place.
Yeah.
That, like, fucking American history classes only give a fuck about it when it's like, all right, so Egypt, so Greece, and then we're gonna jump over to Greece, which isn't in Africa anymore, and now we're not just gonna talk about Africa ever again.
Fuck, I was too. Honestly, it's embarrassing being so old and then finding out Egypt's in Africa. I thought it was its own thing.
No, dude, I feel it. Like, when you sit there and look at a map and you're just like, oh shit, that's that close to that. Oh, that makes a lot more sense for the reasons like they don't like each other. I thought you were like shouting across the ocean. No, you're right next to each other.
You know what I kind of want? You know how many stories there are of like what if not Germany won the World War II and stuff like that? Which, you know, I get why. I want, like, what if Britain stayed in control of the continents?
There was stories. There were what if stories like that. They're just not as popular.
Yeah, I haven't really seen any, and I don't know if they would be good. Cause I want to know, like, it'd have to be written by a historian. I want them to go deep. Because a lot of things would be affected by that. Like, Napoleon was in war with Britain, and that's why he sold the land to America. Who would he sell the land to? Canada? Mexico? Someone else?
Spain.
Spain?
Yeah, Spain was in America also. They were in Mexico.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know about...
Florida. Spain got out after, in the 1800s, when they sold us the Louisiana Purchase.
Yeah, but also, would they want to buy it? Because Spain was also involved in that war against Napoleon.
They were. There was a lot of things that, I mean...
Well, Napoleon had several wars against him.
Yeah, but also think about how against it for... Honestly, I think in hindsight, King George probably would have not stopped fighting in America had he had realized that his only backup plan was Australia being the colony for expansion of his empire properly without, like, you know, like a quick, like, getaway, like where they could just send prisoners and export goods and import goods from, where, like, after that they're like, well, I guess Australia, and that posed a huge logistical problem, and I mean kind of sealed the fate for the fucking English Empire after a while, because then Australia was like, wait, if they can do it, then we can do it too. And
yeah, well, that's what I'm just saying, there's a lot that went on.
I mean, then they also, I mean,
that, you know,
when you look at it, England was fucking impressive, and even America has never been able to accomplish what they have. Like,
well, I mean, we kind of stopped what we were, like, we were founded at a certain point where, like, we did the manifestation to a certain point, and then it was just, at a certain point, it just became, not appropriate for countries to do that anymore.
Well, no, like, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, we still did that, like, more than we like to admit to this day. In other countries, like, we have a base in almost every country besides China, its surrounding countries, also, like, we have a base in fucking Cuba. Like, put it that way. We have bases all around the world. But England literally ran the government of India, China.
No, that's what I'm saying. It was uncouth to just take over.
Yeah.
Like, if it was still similar during World War II or after World War II, we would have took over Germany completely. It wouldn't be like, well, you're still gonna run it, but you guys owe us. It would have been like what Russia did, and they're like, well, now you're ours, kind of. But even worse, where they would have just been like, no, you're Germany, you're Russia now. You know. Ooh, ooh. I'm in a bit of firefight here. Ah, shit.
It's almost like, you know, what if George Washington decided to be a king?
Yeah, but I'm just saying.
Assassin's Creed had that DLC. It was pretty fun.
I know, but I'm saying there would have been like a lot of things. You know, would have Britain have freed the slaves earlier, later? Would it had to wait for like a war?
Well, that's the thing. I was actually gonna ask that. Did Britain free slaves before America? Because I know that's always been a criticism of America, is that like we were one of the last countries to do it.
See, that was thing is I don't really think Britain actually used slaves
No, they did.
as much. I'm saying.
They did. Well, that's what you. All right. So, do you want to say like in the country or in the colonies that they were running at?
In the country itself.
Well, why wouldn't the colonies that they're running count then? Because
No, I'm not saying like, hey, that's what I'm saying. They kind of it was more like, hey, if it's not in front of me, do what you want with slavery kind of deal. I'm not like that's what I'm saying. Like, you're right in aspects. Like, hey, they still allowed it, so doesn't it count for them in a sense? But you know. Would they have at a certain point just been like, well, if you guys want to have slaves in the colonies, keep having slaves? Or would have at a certain point, you know, in modern day, them turn it over and be like, look, this is just bad. Because, like, I know in the Civil War when stuff happened, there was...
You want to guess what the first nation to free slaves were?
The first one to start it.
What?
Denmark.
No.
Who?
Haiti.
I mean, makes sense.
1809, they declared independence from France and they freed the slaves in the same proclamation. And the Denmark thing is also.
No, I know.
Sure, it's.
We don't have to dive into that. No, I don't want to dive into that. Because I know everything you're going to say. And if you want to say it just to get it off your chest, you can. But...
Well, no. But, I mean, you can't just throw out things like that and just be like, well, then don't say what you're going to say. You can't say what you said and then just be like, well, don't say what you're going to say.
No, I know what you're... I know what you're saying. I'm just saying I know what you're
but
saying.
Then don't say what you just said.
What I said?
Don't lay it on an entire nation of people. It wasn't just Denmark, you dickhead.
Well, no, I said, like, I'm just assuming that maybe they were the first one because everyone... Like, the way...
Alright, so just take the entire fucking nation of the Congo off. Because they had nothing to do with it, I guess.
No, Hey, settle down. Put your bridges back on.
No, you put your fucking bridges in. Fucking...
I was just saying the way you said, oh, do you know who were the first people to free slaves? Like, the way you kind of laughed about it. Made me think that it was going to be Denmark because everyone associates Denmark as slavery. GT said Portugal.
I mean, could have been. I mean, Portugal could have been shortly after, but.
I'm not saying, you know. Do you have slavery in your country? Can't stand ya.
So Britain abolished slavery throughout its empire, meaning the all of its colonies. With the notable exception being India, though. In 1833, the French colonies re-abolished it in 1848, and the U.S. Abolished slavery in 1865. So the English Empire was first.